Ta-da! And back at you with another video and welcome to another edition of Stop the Capping. I'm your host Ahmad and we got some things that we should be talking about. So let's talk about them. So tonight I want to talk about something that occurred that I heard, just a little snippet of what I heard. And I want to get you, the viewers, you, the subscribers, your opinions. So I want you to leave your comment at the end of this video. If you happen to be scrolling by and you see this video, once you stop, listen to it, listen to the content, and then I want you to give your opinion and your thoughts and your process on how you view relationships. And tonight's topic is about the do's and don'ts in a relationship. What are the proper do's and don'ts in a relationship? Everyone who's dating or has dated has certain values, certain pet peeves that they like and they don't like when they're dating or in a relationship with another human beings. Mainly, I want to talk about the do's and don'ts. Are there proper do's and don'ts? And who decides that these do's and don'ts are proper? Who decides the rules and regulations of a relationship? Is it the couple? Is it society? Is it the marriage couples? Who decides what and what not should go on in a relationship? Should it be based on the two individuals in the relationship? Should they be the one who decide the do's and don'ts of their relationship? Or is there a proper behavior that both parties should be conducting while in a relationship? Point in case. In 2025, there is a high increase of infidelity in both marriages and in committed relationships. There is a high level of cheating. I use cheating for those that are not married. Those that are married, we're going to call you infidelity within your marriage because you're married under a vow, and that vow is under a promise to God. So a lot of people don't realize that not only are you making a vow to the person that you're marrying, but you vow in the name of the Lord. So therefore, your vows, your word, and your promise, not only to those who are witness that you are being married or in or engaged in this relationship or bonded into a relationship, you've also put God in it. So your infidelity, I think, is more serious than broken words. And what I mean by broken words, when you just in a relationship and you decide based on mutual communication between yourself or what you're going to do and what you're not going to do while in the relationship, and one of you does the opposite of what you promised not to do, you basically lied and therefore you cheated. Now, it still doesn't justify you doing wrong because you gave that word to that person you wouldn't do this, and that person gave their word that they wouldn't do this, and so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, one of you have broken that trust within their relationship, within that marriage. I think most time people don't just wake up, men or women, and just say, hey, today's that day. Today I want to cheat. Today I think I'm gonna be an infidel. I'm gonna commit infidelity. Today I'm gonna do it. This today. I'm just tired of everything. Today's gonna be the day. I, I'm gonna do it today. I think no man or woman, no matter where you're at in the world, just wakes up and say, today is that day. Sometimes it can build over time, especially if you're working close with an individual person or you're friends with the individual person. Sometimes it can happen. you fall out of love with one person and you fall in love with another person. But mainly, what I want to talk about is being married. Your spouse, be it the man or the woman, passes away and she engages with a relationship with your best friend, be it a woman or be it a man. And that best friend of yours marries your spouse. Once again, listen to the question. You are married. Your husband has or wife has deceased. The man's best friend or the woman's best friend, who may or may not be friends with you, but that's your best friend. So y'all know each other very well. You know your best friend's secrets. That best friend probably know your secrets, but unfortunately, your best friend passed away, be it a man or a woman. So now I'm going to use the man first. So the man, he passed away, which is your husband. His best friend start coming around like he been doing, but now he's first starts off with just checking on you, seeing how you doing. Then the visit becomes 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then it becomes, would you like to go out? So you, maybe you're still grieving, maybe you're not still grieving. You decide to go out with that person because, like I said, he's your husband's best friend. You probably didn't talk to him, seen him 1,000 times, so you feel safe and comfortable with him. So you go out on this date with that person. Now, I'm sure in your mind you probably didn't think about ever dating him. Now that person may be thinking about you, but in your mind at that moment you wasn't thinking about that person. The person asked you out, not right away, but over time, that person eventually asks you out. You eventually go. Then he asks you a second time, and then the third time, and the fourth time. Now you've become accustomed to going out with that person on a regular. So now you guys have bonded a friendship. Now the friendship has bonded into feelings. Should that best friend be engaging with his best friend's wife now that he's no longer here? And what I mean by engaging, should he be even offering her to go on a date? Should he be engaging in sexual activities? And should he even be trying to marry his best friend's wife? Is that a violation? In my opinion, I think so. Even though I don't have any best friends, I have associates. I don't even want to date an associate of mine's ex. I don't even want to date an associate of mine's friends. Now, would I bump her off? Maybe. But I don't want to be in no relationship with her. Now, I may bump her off, which is probably still wrong, but I'm sure not going to make her my girlfriend. I'm sure not going to make her my wife. Now, I may bump her off. I don't know. Hasn't came to me yet. You know, we say this, we say we're not going to do this, we say we're not going to do that. Everyone has said it. Even those that are cheating, once upon a time, they said they will not cheat. They will not cheat. They're not going to cheat, but they did it. So, like I said, I don't think no one wakes up in the morning thinking about let me go cheat, let me go mess around. No one just jumps up out of their sleep and say, I'm going to do it. This is the moment. Today's the day. I'm going to do it. It's not a one day thing. No one's just jump up unless you just a pure slut or pure whatever. You know what I'm saying? You just you got that kind of vibe that you can just wake up out of a blink of an eye and just engage in whoever and whatever. Well, that's you're a different type of person. You're a different type of animal. You're a different type of beast. Be you man or woman. If you can wake up off the drop of the dime, drop your panties, drop your boxes, and hit the next thing that pass your way, you're a different type of beast. But I know no man or no woman, at least in my circle, that has cheated and has revealed that they cheated, just jumped up and did it. And while I'm on the subject, matter of fact, it did happen. Let me share this story with you before I go continue. I was in the Marine Corps. Now he wasn't a best friend, but in the Marine Corps you bond when you hang because in the Marine Corps you're around a certain individual for long periods of time, especially if both of you are not married, both of you are single, you're both living in the same military base housing or BQ or your barracks or whatever. So you could be roommates or what have you. Especially in the Marine Corps, you could be living in a squad bed where it's 20, 30 you in there together. You could be living in double rooms, or you could be blessed to have your own single room when you're a single Marine. So anyway, a friend of mine, we were close friends. We were both Marines. He got married while he was in the Marine Corps. At the wedding, at the wedding, one of his wife's bridesmaids carted him off to a section away from the crowd, and they were away for a while because at one moment the bride was asking, well, like, where's the group? Well, she was asking for like where her husband was. So then people started asking, like where's Jerome at? But for about 20 minutes, 23 minutes, give or take, one of the bridesmaids and Jerome, who was a Marine with me during my time of service, disappeared. This is on the wedding date. Now, once they both, once he came back into the room and the other person came back into the room, nobody knew anything was going on. I didn't suspect anything was going on. The wife didn't expect anything was going on. Nobody said anything. No, nothing was brought up. He's back in the room. Nobody even noticed that they were even gone. Or she was gone. They were gone. They were just looking for him. Nobody was caring about the bridesmaids. They were just looking for Jerome. Well, where's Jerome? Where's Jerome? But then he eventually, like, he showed up and he's like, yeah, I did one, did this one, did that. So nobody thought nothing about it. It's like I said, it's the wedding day. You know what I'm saying? It's the reception. You know what I'm saying? The wedding's been done. But later on, he tells me what happened. He tells me when he disappeared, when he was gone for them brief 21, 22, 23 minutes, he was bumping one of the bridesmaids. One of the bridesmaids took him to a spot in the venue in a closed room away from the venue, and she said she was giving him his wedding present. His wedding present was letting him engage in sexual activities with her. So on his wedding day, the first person he made love to on his wedding day was one of the bridesmaids. Now, I've seen bold moves and I've seen crazy moves and I've seen shitty moves. That one right there was all three combined. First of all, it was bold to run off. Second of all, it was crazy to go even do it while at the venue with all them people around, because you never know who's watching, who's looking, who's seeing. And plus, it's shitty because it's your wedding date. We're not talking 2 or 3 years later. We're not talking 6 months. We talking wedding day. We talking 2 hours ago. You just walked down the aisle. We talking 2 hours later. You in a reception. We talking 23 minutes later. You're off somewhere with your pants down, bumping off one of the bridesmaids. Now, hearing this story, that lets me know that we got shitty women out here in the world. That lets me know we got shitty men out here in the world because they're both wrong. He was wrong to accept the offer once it was given. He was wrong for accepting it, which, I'm saying, I don't know who else he told the story to besides me. But how does that woman walk around, goes back to the wedding, and then he and ha ha? Matter of fact, how does both of them go back and he and ha ha? How do you go grab your wife that you just married, hugging up all on her for the last dance and so forth and so on, when just 30, 40 minutes ago you was bumping off one of her bridesmaids at the venue, folks? We're not talking about a day later. We're talking about at the reception venue. She gives him a piece of ass. She lets him hit it right there at the wedding reception, off in some dark room, off away from people. She lets him hit it. Now people are having so much fun. Yeah, people ask, but they didn't like go looking for him really. People like you seen Jerome, and it wasn't a lengthy look like hey, everybody run around like left and right, left and right. You see, it's just a couple of people had asked him, and then that was it. And everybody just having a good time going about their business. Nobody thinking about him. Nobody thinking about her. Nobody put two and two together because I hell sure didn't. I was so busy having so much fun myself. Hell, I wasn't thinking about what he was doing, where he was at. No, I think about what his wife was doing and where she was at. But even though she wasn't missing, but it's moments like this that make me think about relationships here in America and how we value them. Trust right now in 2025 is at a all-time low, and it's among both parties, men and women. Trust level here in the United States. We're not going to talk about the rest of the world, even though the rest of the world is probably doing the same thing that we're doing. We're going to focus right now on the United States. We're going to focus right now on home. Even though I lived abroad and I've seen certain things happen abroad, but today we're going to focus on the United States. We're going to focus on home. The trust and the level of commitment, honest commitment, is at an all-time low. Our words, our bond is not as strong as it was 20, 30 years ago. Our word of bond, our value to maintain and hold truth, it's at an all-time low, folks. It's at an all-time low. Let me tell you, people's word, honor, and value is at an all-time low. There is so much wrongdoing in both marriages and relationship It's a wonder they even call them relationship and marriages now, because it is all together something new. And 2026 is just around the corner. So my question is this: if your spouse passes away, are you allowed to date your spouse's best friend, be it man or woman? Is that a taboo of no, no, no? And then this question also pertains to me because I was also involved in a dilemma like this. It was tearing me apart because my uncle had passed away, and at that time, when he passed away, my uncle's sister, me, and my uncle's wife, we became even more close once he passed away. We hung out a lot. We went to dinners, we went to brunch, we went over each other's house. We had dinner there. We listened to music. We watched movies. We laughed. We talked. We joked. We did everything. A year or more had passed since my uncle had passed away, and I ended up spending more time with my auntie, who was my uncle's wife, than with the other auntie because she she was in a relationship. So once she got back in her relationship, she sort of like we got kind of like kicked to the curb a little bit because we used to be like the three amigos. We went out, like I said, we went out everywhere. We hung out together. We went to casino. Even though I don't gamble, I went out with them. I hung out with them. So it's my auntie, which is my uncle's sister, and his wife, which is her sister-in-law, and me. So basically, I'm the nephew to both of them. So after a while, it was just us two because my auntie had a boyfriend, and so once they got kind of got back together, uh, they just left me and her hanging out a lot, and me and her hanging out, me hanging out over her house a lot, hanging out with her. Everything stayed platonic between us. Everything, we had a lot of good fun. We had a lot of laughs. We had a lot of fun. And all of a sudden, we started to develop feelings for each other. Mainly me, because we was hanging together so much. And then I was like, this falls under the bro code. And the bro code is, I don't care if it's your uncle, your brother, your wife, whatever. The bro code, you're not supposed to date your friend's girl. You're not supposed to date your friend's wife. You're not supposed to date your uncle's wife, your uncle's girlfriend, so forth and so on. It was like a code. This is like a known code. And for a brief second, I broke the code. So I'm gonna be honest. I broke the code for a brief moment because inside of me was telling me you're doing wrong. Even though she was like, "Hey, I'm not married no more. My husband is deceased now." My auntie was like, "Yeah, go for it." But in my heart, I just didn't feel that just didn't feel right. Yeah, I don't think my uncle was expecting her to just stay single forever because I know my uncle, if she passed away, he wasn't gonna stay single forever. He gonna get out there and get it. But still, because he gonna get out there and get it, don't mean that it was right for me to go get it. No matter how much she was okay with it, I should have been man enough at that particular moment and said, no, we're not gonna go there. But for, like I said, for a brief moment, a brief, I mean brief. Now, even though we did it, I was still able to maintain a, a relationship with her without the intimacy because I just stopped it. I just like, hey, this is wrong. And then, once I said no, she had no other choice but to go along with it. I mean, it just that's just what it is. I had to stand up and say, no, this not right. Let you go find somebody else that's not family related. That's what my uncle wants you to do. He don't want you to be one of his nephews or one of his brothers. Even though she had joked about it, like when you leave here, I'm gonna date your brother, blah blah blah. She was joking. She was jokingly saying it, but he was like, "Hey, I'm dead. I don't care what you do." Well, just a cliche thing to say, because it is. Once a person dies, what you going? What can they do? They don't know what you're doing. Once that dirt gets shoveled up on them, what you do on earth, they have no stoppage in your madness, in your foolishness, be it good or bad. They can't stop nothing. So in that sense, he was right. Once I'm gone, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm out of here. But for me, I just felt in my heart it was wrong. So I ended it quick, fast, and hurt. As quick as I started, that's as quick as fast I ended it. Which brings me to my question: should someone, be a family member, be a best friend, or whatever, should they date and have an intimate relationship with the significant others once they passed away? Should they do that? Would you condone such a behavior? And what is your opinion and comment on such a situation like that? And have you been involved in something like that or came close to something like that? And how did you deal with it? How did you feel being in that relationship? So, if you're watching this video and you come across this video, take a moment, listen to it, go to the comment section, and write your opinion on how you feel about this. What are do's and don'ts in a relationship based on your relationship? Would you date your friend's best friend, boyfriend? Would you date your best friend's husband if the wife or husband passed away? Would you engage in that? Would you think, well, they gone? So, or you think there should be a woman code or a man code that no, they should be off limit. Let somebody else make her happy. Not you be the one. Now, if you want to go by and check on that person or check on that person left, right, and center, okay, you can check. You want to do a wellness check. But at no point in time should you be engaging in a relationship with your deceased spouse, best friend, wife, and or husband. That's my opinion. I think, yeah, both of you can decide and do whatever you want at the end of the day. Let's make that clear, point blank and clear. At the end of the day, the decision is amongst the living because the dead cannot do anything about it. Okay, so let's let's be realistic about it. Let's talk some common sense. At the end of the day, the decision is really about the living because once you're dead and deceased, your decision making days are over with. Your opinions do not count anymore. You are gone. You are dead and gone. However, there is a sense of behavior that stays behind, and it's called proper behavior. What is proper and what is not proper? That is the question. Is it proper behavior to date your ex's spouse who has passed away? Should you date that spouse, be it a man dating a woman or a woman dating a man, and that's your best friend? Should you be allowed to do that? Or does it come down to what I said earlier? The question lies within the living because the dead can't answer it. The dead can't make a decision. The dead can't say, yeah, we're going to move forward with this left, right. It's only the living who can make that decision. And it's just like any other thing, person cheating, whatever. You don't think that person cheating don't know right from wrong? You don't think that person feels a little bit of guilt? If a person didn't feel guilt when they get caught, they will not feel shame. If you're doing something and you feel a sense of shame, then you know you did wrong. Now you did it and don't care. Be like, let's go out. Then that's right. You cold hearted. You do not care. You was done from get go. Whether they caught you, didn't catch you, it was no value to you. You're gone. You're done with it. So that's my question. That's my topic for the day. What is the proper protocol in a relationship? Me growing up back in my time, it was always you don't date your friends, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, exes, and so forth and so on. That was considered off limits. But now 2025, it seems like everything goes. So let me hear your comments and opinions on how you would handle such a situation. That's it for tonight, and thank you for watching this edition of Stop the Captain. I'm your host, Ahmad. Until then, peace. I'm out of here. Good night.